White House.
Thank you, Mr. President.
It is a thrill to have you here.
So what can we do for you?
Well, I am a big fan of Mythbusters.
Really?
I am, and so are the girls. Partly because we are just fascinated by science. You guys make it fun and exciting and interesting, and occasionally you blow things up, which is always cool. But I have a personal interest in this as president because nothing's more important to our country's future than getting young people engaged in math and science. A lot of the challenges that we face as a country are going to depend on how engaged young people are in science, and so I'm just thrilled that you guys do such a great job making it fun.
Thank you, sir. That means a great deal to us.
Well, I appreciate that. Now, I do know that science requires a lot of trial and error. Part of what Mythbusters is about is testing out various hypotheses, and I think that we've got a big one that hasn't been thoroughly tested.
Which one is that?
Well, it is Archimedes' solar ray.
Well, that is a classic.
It is a classic, and so I'm hoping that we can take one more crack at it.
Okay.
The story goes that Archimedes designed a solar weapon that focused the sun's rays with such ferocity it set an invading Roman navy ablaze. But when the Mythbusters duplicated his ancient design,
It's 280 degrees.
it failed to fuel a fire.
I'm standing right in it, and I'm not dead yet.
So they reloaded the ray with the help of MIT and 300 mirrors.
Look at that!
But that still didn't set this myth alight,
I see a little smoke, but I've seen worse than that before.
which leaves Adam with a burning question.
If you don't mind me saying so, sir, what do you think we actually got wrong on this?
Well, there's one thing you didn't do.
Well, we did use a giant solar mirror array.
And we did use 300 bronze mirrors on shelving units that were aimable.
True.
But we didn't use, what, manpower?
Exactly.
Ah, and the Greeks had plenty of access to manpower, so if we could get a whole bunch of people, like 500 people each with their own mirror, we might just be able to test this.
So how do you want us to do that?
Well, I'm going to leave that up to you guys. You're the experts. I'm going to stay here in Washington. I've got a little bit of business to attend to, but I expect you guys to go back to San Francisco, figure this out, get to the bottom of this once and for all, and then report back to me.
We're on it.
The presidential challenge has been issued, and it'll take a crack team of Mythbusters to mastermind this one. Not only will they need 500 stand-in soldiers armed with 500 mirrors, they'll have to find a way to focus 500 beams into a spot small enough to fire up this myth.
The pressure's on, then.
It's quite a challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, I'm thinking back to the first time we shot this, and the trouble we had getting even 12 people to aim their mirrors on a single spot. Who's that? I think that the biggest single challenge we're going to face in this story is getting all 500 of our soldiers' mirrors aimed on the smallest possible target.
Yeah, we need to come up with some sort of a system, an aiming device.
Yeah, we do. Have you got any ideas?
I do, actually.
I've got a couple myself.
Well, why don't we mock it up and scale it and see which one works best?
Perfect. Let's do it.
From previous experience, the guys know that the tighter the focal point, the hotter the temperature, and the more chance of flame. So they divide and conquer to take aim on the aim in small scale.
If you're out in the wild with a signal mirror, and you're trying to signal, let's say, a passing aircraft, the way you do it is you sight the aircraft up in the sky, and then put your hand directly underneath it. And then you use the signal mirror to sweep the sun across your hand, and thus across that passing aircraft.
Adam's idea is to create a hand substitute to wave his beam across.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Isn't it, little Jamie?
Meanwhile, Jamie is gunning for inspiration.
Now, when I think of aiming and targets, of course I think of guns. They have gun sights, one here and one here, and if you line those two things up with your bullseye,